Whoa, are you okay?
Oh my! What's wrong, little one? There's no need to panic. Take a deep breath before you begin.
The traveler started complaining of a stomachache, and then nausea, and then collapsed on freezing limbs, twitching fingers.
Let me take a look. Please, lie down over here. Don't worry, I'll get you to the bed safely. Here, hold on to my shoulder and walk slowly.
You can do it,
Don't apologize. You're sick after all. Now, please relax. I'm just going to do a preliminary checkup on you. My checkup has confirmed that she's not...
Oh, that's good.
I'll continue my diagnosis of the patient now. Don't sense serious... And... Huh? But... What about here? Oh, I think you just ate something that disagreed with you. That's all. Nothing too...
So that's what it is. Thank goodness it's not anything more serious.
And there have been other inmates complaining about the food recently. I'll inform our head chef, Mr. Woolsey, of this problem. Congratulations! The health risk is incredibly low, so you should recover within a couple days. Why don't you take a... Miss Levine, I'll have to trouble you to help...
Very well.
And she hopped away.
Hello. So how are you feeling now?
Her stomach ache's really bad. She was stumbling about the...
If Miss Sejuin says it's not a serious problem, then there's no need to worry. She's the best...
But it also looks like...
Well...
What do you mean that's true? That's really misrepresenting the situation. Of course I can't speak for the whole forge. Though they may have committed crimes and gotten locked up here as a result, they still know a thing or two about medicine, and they help Miss Sejuin take care of the sick and...
Yeah, you're right. But did you have to lecture me about it in front of another patient? Aren't you a patient too? Where did all your energy come from?
That's correct.
Are you two also sick?
We've been sick a while. I come back every once in a while for checkups, and to pick up the medicines Miss Sejuin prescribes for us. That's just the nature of chronic illnesses. You could say she fancies herself as Miss Sejuin's capable helper because she learned a bit of medical knowledge ages ago.
Please watch your mouth, Mr. Jurier. Don't forget that you are the primary reason I have frequent heart palpitations.
Hey, don't start arguing now. Please, keep it civil at least. Hey! There's no need to...
But...
Release. It's way too early for us to even think about that. And who the heck knows if we'd even be able to continue our previous lives?
Please allow me to end this boring and useless conversation. Oh, and Mr.
And same to you, Miss Lorvine. Anyway, that was more than enough rest for me, so I'm going to get out of this excessive...
He just slowly walked off like that?
That's just what he's like. I'm sorry you had to see all of that. I'm Lorvine, and that's...
You really can't stick...
I mean, can you blame me? Look, who would like someone who's as arrogant and obsessed with weird research topics as he is? I'll accompany you two for a while. Miss Sejuin should be back soon, and I'm sure you'll feel better as soon as you've had... No.
I'm back! Did you rest like you promised?
Thank you for getting our medicine, Miss...
Did you all cooperate with your bed rest? I trust that nobody got up to walk around. Good. Here, this should be 2 days' worth of medicine for you. Take one pill now, and... Miss Levine, I left in a bit of a hurry just now. Do you...
I remember.
Yellow, huh? I understand. These are yours.
All right, then I'll also be on my way now. I hope you feel better soon.
See ya!
I'm going to fill out your medical record now. You're widely known as the Traveler, right? I just want to...
Those two made quite the commotion just now, so why don't we let the Traveler rest? Paimon can answer the questions instead.
Mm-hmm. So her primary symptoms are abdominal pain with Alright then.
Is there anything we should know besides to take the med?
No, her base constitution is quite good, so I'm sure she'll recover quite quickly after taking the medicine. Please, make sure to stick to bland or less stimulating foods. And don't stay up...
Got it. Paimon will... Oh, you're going to take a nap already? Okay. We've been to lots of places together. She may look a bit under the weather now, but she's actually...
Oh, so you're the best of companions. Ah, you're awake.
How do you feel? You slept for a really long...
Well, now you can go back without a worry in the world.
Thank you, Miss Sijween! You really are something. To be able to fall asleep like that and even sleep talk the entire time, you scared Paimon half to death! No, but you kept mumbling things along the lines of, Pyron, don't take my grilled fish, and put down the Adeptus Temptation now! Paimon talked with Sijween the entire time you were asleep. She seems like she's just a sincere nurse, and Paimon didn't notice anything unusual in the room. Are you... Whoa! You really are... Today's the day! Let's go meet up with Vinny! Oh!
Did you two run into any trouble over the past few days?
No, we just worked our shifts according to the schedule.
That's good. That means you didn't raise any suspicions when you infiltrated the... We've taken a look at the slip you've sent. Fremine successfully left the grounds via the pipes 2 days ago. And as of last night, Lynette has also infiltrated the infirmary after faking an illness.
Wait, why is she getting involved as well?
You already went above and beyond when you scoped out the infirmary. To put it more bluntly, Even if we were to view that as something you did in exchange for Fremene's help, you've already done more than infiltrating a guarded stronghold is a different kind of job from a one-off investigation. We want to avoid using the same faces over and over and reduce the amount of suspicion that will fall on any given person. Lynette also felt like you have already taken the first step for us, so she should be the one to finish the job.
So that's what Lynette thinks. Oh, Paimon hopes.
Then, let's go check on Lynette before Fremene returns. If everything went well, then she should be wrapping up her investigation right about now.
Is now really a good time to go over?
According to my observations, Sigewinne always spends around half an hour away from the infirmary right before lunch. Lynette knows this as well, so this should be a good time to meet up with her. Also, I'm her brother, remember? It's only natural for an older...
Okay, then let's head over.
Lynette should be... Huh, strange.
As expected, Sigewinne isn't here, but why isn't Lynette here?
No, Lynette rarely deviates from the plan. We agreed that if she were to make changes on the fly, she'd find a way... Unless...
Let's see if there are any clues around here. We can...
Okay. None of the beds have any signs of having been slept in.
That's the one Lynette must have used, right? You said she was
She would have said her migraine was having a particularly bad flare-up. Generally speaking, the head nurse would then ask her to lie down and rest while she left, which means either the head nurse didn't return the entire time from when Lynette laid down up until she left the bed, or the nurse intentionally left it this way.
There are some books here and a few files. Advanced nursing, how to raise the spirit of your patients, a quick guide to the psychology of emotions. These sure are some interesting books. She even has books on understanding people's motivations.
Seems quite normal to me. These are skill... Wait, this thing? It doesn't look like it's been disguised that well. The space behind it is empty. From its size, I don't think it's an entrance that is meant to be taken apart. There's probably a... Could Lynette have tried to get inside? But if that's the case, she would have contacted me for sure. Let's look around here for some more clues.
You guys, there's a slip of paper.
A slip of paper?
It's right over here, and there's a bunch written on it too. It reads, out of respect for your usual practices, I'll use a piece of paper or card as the medium to pass on my message. You may consider this as me giving...
This is...
Is that all? The back. This...
Show me! Now!
That look on your face. Would you care to guess where Miss Lynette of the Fatui could be right now? No. Could she have... Is she already...
Wriothesley. Did he deliberately leave the infirmary unguarded to use it as bait?
Wait, you mean he was aware of our goals from the very beginning? But...
Yes, that is a crucial question. Wriothesley, he doesn't do anything without a clear goal or reason. So this means he had no concerns about your activities from the very beginning. You're not from the same camp as us. You were sent down here by Nervulet, so you have no conflict of interest with Wriothesley. We're a completely different story, though. I'd like to know that, too. Don't panic, just think everything over. I have to stay calm. This is not like what happened last time. The situation's different now. Wait, you're right. Wait, but that means the fact that Fremine was able to leave the grounds. Could Risley have let him go as well?
But what does he gain by letting Fremine leave like that?
So he's challenging me and trying to provoke me, I'm sure of it. We never should have sent out Fremine. We had to go through all that trouble to find an opening to sneak him around the guards and into the pipe, and we even thought luck was on our side. If Risley let him leave on purpose, then he's probably in a terrible spot now as well.
Lenny's getting more and more panicked. Don't be like this, Lenny. Fremine wouldn't have left if we hadn't told you about Child. That was our fault.
No, I'm the leader of this operation, and I'm the one responsible for this team. I'll go talk to Risley.
Hey, don't be reckless! Traveler, please, talk some—
I simply cannot allow Lynette to be abducted again. I have to go. I'll find a way to get them back!
He's rushed out the door! After him!
Right. I feel like we still have some room to make changes on these.
It's not impossible, but it'll require extensive
Is that so? Very well. Huh?
Is someone?
Pack everything up. Whoever's outside is eavesdropping. They'll probably come in once we stop talking.
Someone! Please help!
Whoa, are you okay?
What a delightful oh my! What's wrong, little one? Being able to read human expressions is quite the useful skill.
Lenny! Wait! It's no use. We have to catch up to him. He's already out of sight. How is he so fast? Let's go head him off at Risley's office.
Come out and face me, Rise!
Aren't we at an administrative office space? Why don't you at least try to follow?
What did you do to my sister?
I ran into the young miss at the infirmary. I'd heard that she was suffering from quite the migraine, so I decided to invite her over for a cup of tea. I do have some teas in my collection that can work.
Stop joking around! Where did you take my siblings?
I have also heard that your performances are quite the spectacle. Miss maybe she'll appear behind you right now if you would.
Is he trying to trick me into turning? You knew we were investigating the infirmary from the... As for Fremine, no. You probably didn't even interfere with Child's escape.
There was no need to do so. The Fortress of Meripede is a pretty pleasant place. Most people enjoy their lives here.
You removed our original members and spread the news of Child's escape so Father would assign our team to come down and investigate. Fremine has also fallen into your hands, right?
One correction. Lynette is in my hands right now, but Fremine isn't.
He's not. What do you really want?
Lenny!
Oh, wonderful. Everyone is here, so I'll only need to say this once. Thank you so much for cooperating. Eager and to the point, I see. Alas, only Miss Lynette is currently having a cup of the fortress's fine. Although, as per your original plan, Mr. Fremine should also have returned to the fortress by now. But he has neither shown up within my gates, nor has he been taken into any kind of custody. So, where do you—
Wait, you can't. You locked him outside in the...
I closed the fortress's gate to the outside world.
Fremine's a star diver, so he should—
No, we're still here, so he definitely tried to find a way to come back for us. So we can't assume he might have made a break for the serpent.
But why would I do this, you may be asking? To have an audience with you, of course. My intel tells me that Mr. Linney is a great magician, so it's only natural for me to want to have some cards of my own. Besides, I do recall you mentioning to Miss Lynette that you've always wanted to have a face-to-face meeting with the Lord of the Fortress of Meripede, regardless of—
So, you've been keeping tabs on us before we even set foot in the fortress.
Some of my folks just happened to hear a thing or two, that's all. In any case, I was willing to play dumb and turn a blind eye, so we had a pleasant few days playing games together here. But once you started focusing on the Forbidden Zone, Mr. Linney, the cards are stacked against you right now. Miss Lynette is in my hands, and Mr. Fremenet is still slowly being pickled out there in the brine. You know just as well as I that he cannot last out there forever. You need do but one thing to guarantee their safety. I would like you to contact your superior, and ID.
You want to see Father? But why should she bother giving you an audience?
Well, if she cares for the well-being of her dearest children, she should have plenty of motivation to join me for a parents' evening. I've heard that the bonds between the members of the House of the Hearth are like the bonds of family.
Why did you think Father sent us to handle the Fortress of Meripede? This place is basically a no-man's land. It wouldn't be fitting for anyone as important as a harbinger like Father to come here in person.
Oh, I see. So it's because she doesn't care for my place here. That's such a shame. After all, I've amassed quite the tea collection. I was looking forward to sharing it with her. Both Monsieur Neuvillette and Lady Farina have already received—
Was this the extent of your master plan to get to Father?
No. You people really are difficult to get along with. All I'm asking for is a face-to-face conversation. Does she truly have no interest? Mr. Linney, you have one last chance to invite your father here.
Linny!
Instead of asking why I'm doing this, why don't you try to see things from my perspective for a second? From the very beginning, the Fatui has been actively infiltrating my fortress. I gave you a warning by cutting off the first few operatives I found, but that only caused you to double down. Had you given up on the fortress then and there, I'd have no reason to want— Mr. Fremenet left the fortress on his own, and Miss Lynette tried to pry out my secrets right in front of me. No matter how you look at it, the responsibility for this—
I shouldn't ask Father to do anything because of us.
6,
Wait,
2, time's up.
Risley!
Negotiations have broken down. Please leave, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for my afternoon.
Yeah, listen to the Traveler. If
You do realize that I'm only letting you go because of Neuvillette, yes? You're here helping him out, and I've already done my best to stay out of your way. But that doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want. The fortress may be small and remote, but it still has its own set of laws. Then how about this? Those who are capable deserve respect. You've spent quite some time investigating my home turf by now, so why don't you tell me a thing or two about what you found, I'll ask you 3 questions. Answer all of them correctly, and I'll agree to your request. Question 1. Regarding the hidden rules of the production zone, what is the truth behind the one about not being allowed to work for 3 days in a row?
I've been told that the infirmary is always empty for the half hour just before lunch. The Fonta promoter has been struggling because we often see Miss Sijuin observing the prisoners at work near the production zone. It seems like she can perceive the general state of a person's health just by looking at them. According to Collins, the Pancration tournament only took place because the Fonta company sponsored it. The research note said that the Melusine race perceives the world very differently from humans. I've been told that the infirmary is The Fanta promoter has been struggling because he doesn't recognize the real value of coupons. Meanwhile, we often see Miss Sijuin observing the prisoners at work near the production. Fanta's internal reports suggest the Fanta promoter has been. According to Collins, the pancreas. I've been told that the infirmary. The research note said that the Melusine race perceives the world. According to Collins, the. I've been told that the infirmary. Fanta's internal reports. The research note said that the Melus.
So that's what's going on. The hidden rule of the production zone. People are not supposed to work 3 days in a row, and if they do, they'll get strange meat in their welfare meal. At first, we thought this strange meat must have something to do with the people who disappeared, but in reality, they were all prepared by Sijuin, the head nurse. She often visits the production zone to observe the workers' health and makes a note of anyone who has worn themselves out after 3 full days of work. Out of her sense of duty as the head nurse, as well as her genuine concern for the workers' health, Sijuin visits the cafeteria right before lunch and cooks an extra dish for those who can use the stamina boost. Sijuin has only the best intentions with her surprise gift and doesn't want anyone to find out about what she does. Unfortunately, Melusines as a race perceive the world differently from humans, and their sense of aesthetics is even more alien to us. The recipients of her lovingly prepared special meals cannot taste the care within and usually just freak out. Are we on the right track?
Not bad. You've uncovered Sijuin's secret and even guessed her intentions correctly as well. It's nice to know that her efforts have not gone unacknowledged. All right, now for my next question. There are also some hidden rules in the Pancration Ring, including the one that you're not allowed to support both.
According to Collins, the Pancration tournament only took place because the Fanta's internal reports. The Fanta promoter has been struck.
Paimon gets this rule too now, so there really was nothing to be afraid of. That hidden rule of the Pancration Ring is about how, people are not supposed to bet on both boxers at the same time. And if they do, they'll receive a package containing a strange, blood-colored. People get scared when they see it because they've subconsciously begun to associate it with the missing boxer. But really, it's just a bottle of the latest yet-to-be-named and packaged new Fanta trial product. A blood-red drink. It's no wonder even Fanta's own staff were questioning the company's decision-making. The company, facing backlash from its own staff, decided to try to trial the product on a smaller scale to see how it might be received by customers. They came to the fortress of Meropide and offered to sponsor the Pancration tournament so they could push their new product. But the Duke completely refused to even entertain the idea. The Duke, knowing how valuable coupons are in the fortress, knew that only total idiots who didn't understand their true value would bother buying a Fanta product here. And so, only those who proved their stupidity by being dumb enough to bet on 2 opposing sides of the same match were selected to receive the drinks.
I acknowledge the effort you've put into bringing, although based on your description, that Fanta promoter is a bit too careless with his words. I may just reconsider my collaboration with the company. All right, and here's the final question. What's the secret behind our head nurse and all of her patients in the infirmary?
Stop your cruel and pointless games, Risley! You know that we haven't finished our investigation, so there's no way we can answer the last question. The thought is, you'll pay for Ah!
Lenny, are you alright?
Oh, close one. I owe you, Sigeween.
It was nothing, Your Grace.
Sigeween?
Though this gun may look like a toy, it's actually fully functional.
Wayne. You.
Not at all. I am merely a resident of the fortress, and thus protecting it is my duty. When Monsieur Nervillette asked me to come here, he told me that my job would be to take care of the well-being of everyone here.
But if you mean what you just said, then isn't Lenny someone you should be looking after as well? Isn't he a resident here just like the rest of us?
But I really am just doing what Monsieur Nervillette told me to do. Everything I did, I've done to protect them. Had I not, they would be in far more dire straits. His Grace knows it too, right?
My dear Sigeween, whatever shall I do with you? Would it have killed you to just wait another minute or two?
Well, it's nearly time after all. The way you do things can be truly frustrating sometimes, Your Grace. I figured I should...
What are you talking about?
Take me if you want.
How touching. Can you...
Don't be like that, Your Grace.
All right, everyone, calm down. I'll go get a cup of tea. Miss Sigeween, I leave Miss Lynette in your...
You.
I believe I hear footsteps.
Some space, please.
Ah, Miss Clar...
Renee.
What's going on? What is Cloran doing here?
Work.
I'm sorry about shooting you, Mr. Linney. The tranquilizing effect will begin to wear off soon.
What happened to Fremine? Wasn't he diving just outside of the fortress? Why is he looking like...
A flushed face, an accelerated pulse. He must... Please, make some space. I'll need to give Mr.
I'll talk to Clorand while you get Fremine to where he needs to be. Everything else can wait.
What's that look on your face? I thought I made good time on the way back.
Oh, I'm just admiring your punctuality. Had you arrived just a few minutes later, Sigeween may have been forced to shoot Mr. Linney again. How's the situation out?
The water has changed. It's pretty much as expected. The concentration of primordial sea... I was only out there a short time, so it wasn't too bad. But if one were to stay for any significant amount of time...
Where was he when you found him?
The abandoned zone at the end of the pipes. A good distance into the water.
Closer than I thought. He must have recognized it early on and tried desperately to swim back.
Locking the door was necessary. I don't think we could have saved two.
Well, I did try to convince him that I had my reasons. Never seems...
It would probably work on Neuvillette. He has a knack for picking out who had good intentions, even when the outcomes were all terrible.
It's a bad sign if you're having to plead your case to Neuvillette. Want some tea?
Not particularly. If you want to drink some that badly, just say so.
Fine, I'd like to get some tea. Want me to get you a cup too, since I've already...
Might as well then, I suppose. Actually, do you have a towel? I would like to dry my hair.
How is he?
These symptoms are probably caused by an acute ingestion of a large amount of primordial... Of course, it would be best if he stayed for further observation. Sorry. I am aware that the infirmary may not be your favorite place in the world at the moment. We do only...
Why would he ingest a large amount of primordial seawater after leaving the fortress?
Please, look after Mr. Fremine for the moment. I'll go fetch some medicine and a respirator.
Where is she?
Oh, she just took a nap in an empty room after I tranquilized her. If my calculations are correct, she should also be waking up right around now. You might not believe me, but His Grace and I actually made some snacks and tea for her.
Linny, are you okay? Are you sure?
My hands and feet are still a bit weak, but
I'm back, everyone.
Lenny! Oh. Remine?
He'll be fine. But for now...
his breathing's beginning to slow down.
Give me a hand and help me get him...
Yeah, I'll take him from this side.
On it.
Traveler, you seem pretty worried about him.
The Duke and Clarande are gone.
They probably went to get some tea. The Duke will explain the truth in just a bit. Miss Clarande will need a break, since she only took...
Check out me.
He's awake.
We're all here.
The infirmary, at the Fortress of Meripede, Miss...
How do you feel? Don't...
Traveler. The sea. There's something wrong with the seawater.
Shh, it's okay.
No, listen to me. This is really serious. There's primordial seawater mixed into the regular seawater. I don't know why it's there, but no one should touch it. Pipes. Right, the pipes. It's all coming back to me now. I'm in. Seems like this pipe hasn't been used in a long time. It looks abandoned. Where could Master Child be? This mechanism looks like it's been tampered with. Could he have done it? It's getting stuck on something. Seems like I'll have to avoid those obstacles while I turn it. This is where the water... Master Child probably dived into the water. The vegetation here is a bit more sparse. These traces aren't natural. A person must have left them, and recently. Oh, there are traces here too. I need to keep going. Huh? The traces are gone. But I don't see where he could have gone from here. Wait. What the... My heart is racing, and it's getting harder and harder to breathe. No good. I have to get back. They still don't know anything about what's going on. If I turn back right now, I should still be able to make it. die here. I have to push on. That's right. I tried my best to swim back, but I had already put some distance between myself and the fortress, and I just couldn't find the strength to keep going.
Miss Clarande brought you back, but we also don't know why she just suddenly appeared.
Miss Clarande, you say?
You're still too weak, Fremine.
Miss Lynette is right. I believe Miss Clarande will stay here as a guest for another few days.
A guest? Then I can assume Risley was the one who invited her to come.
You should ask His Grace about that. He'll be able to.
Yeah, it's about time he actually told us what's going on. What?
No, please go on without me.
Lenny.
The logical part of my brain is aware that we're safe right now, but I still...
Understood.
In that case, I'll leave the infirmary to you. The Traveler and I.
Thank you.
Huh?
Make my escape. Excuse me.
I take it Mr. Fremine's condition...
Of course. I wouldn't have left.
I've been expecting those two, but might I inquire as to the purpose of your visit, Miss Siegewien?
I wanted to check up on Miss Clarande.
Mostly fine.
If you don't mind, I'd like to perform another quick physical exam.
All right. Thank you for looking out for me.
Well, want to explain yourself, Risley?
Of course, but I'm not partial to the word choice of... where should I begin? How about you start by asking me any questions you have? You can start...
Then Paimon will begin. Did you know about...
No. I just knew they were Fatui operatives sent to the fortress by the Knave. As for their specific goals, I only figured those out as you made progress on your investigation.
You managed to monitor and stay ahead of them even though you didn't know what they were trying to do?
They came here with ulterior motives. I'm quite adept at discerning what that kind of behavior signals. Initially, I thought their goal was just to investigate Child's disappearance. Linny suggested that I had deliberately let him escape, but in truth, I didn't really do anything special to help or hinder him while he was here. Everything he did, from finding helpers to leaving this place, he did on his own. Of course, it's inevitable that the Knave would make a big deal out of her fellow Harbinger's unexplained disappearance. I'm also quite curious about where that Harbinger went. So I figured I might as well let the Fatui do their own investigative work. All I care about is...
So you were hoping Lenny's group would just do your...
You make it sound like that's a bad thing. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. I assume that Fremine has told you already the ratio of primordial seawater around the Fortress of Meripede is on the rise. The Forbidden Zone has always been Lenny's target, and you got roped into that investigation after running into him. I began to intervene out of concern for your safety, and also to prevent the fortress from becoming entangled in more irksome matters.
Are the rumors true? That you're also a former criminal?
Why would you put it like that? Isn't staying here all day and serving as the manager of the fortress a kind of sentence unto itself? Another form of prison? I just happen to have some support from the rest of the inmates, that's all.
Oh, right. Paimon wanted to ask, who invited Cloran down here?
Me, of course. I paid her good mora to come down to the fortress for some field work. As a champion duelist, Miss Cloran could be considered to be an independent party. I needed to find an exceptionally capable person to help me get through the impending crisis.
And saving Fremine was part of that crisis?
You can think of it like that, yes. Credit where credit is due, that boy is quite adept at diving. Had conditions not been as hostile as they were, he probably would have found the missing Harbinger already. That's not something you should be asking after. Neuvillette only asked you to investigate Child's whereabouts. All I need to prove to you is that the Forbidden Zone had nothing to do with the Harbinger's disappearance. That should be clear now that you've spoken to Fremine.
But we've already uncovered that there's something wrong with the infirmary, and we've answered a bunch of questions that you threw at us. Isn't it about time that you answer our last question in return?
You make a compelling case. Do you really want to know the answer that badly?
Yeah, Paimon really wants to know.
Even if the truth may not be pleasant? Follow me.
There's a hidden door here? And a whole basement behind it? Huh. You're pretty good at hiding stuff, Risley.
It seems you've forgotten just what kind of place the Fortress of Meripede is. Stand on the center.
Wait, is there a secret mechanism or... Whoa! So, this is the Forbidden Zone? Honestly, for a place so well hidden, what a huge door!
There are 3 such isolation gates in total. Generally speaking, I'm the only one who's allowed to go inside. Hence the name Forbidden Zone. Am I correct to assume you're going to run on back and tell your little Fatui friends everything?
Well, Paimon was...
Well, I'd advise you wait until you've seen the whole truth of this place for yourself before deciding whether or not to tell them.
Huh. So there's a switch on the side.
Stand back.
Whoa. They all just went up one by one.
Go on, have a look. I've been interested in what lies beyond that gate ever since I assumed leadership of the Fortress of Meripede. Of course, it would be unwise to recklessly open it, but it'd also be risky and negligent to simply ignore any potential danger that could be behind it. The readings on that dashboard have not budged since the day when I first laid eyes on this place. But over the past year, The needle has crept upwards from its original position. Normally I would have ignored it, but I happened to have some free time when I noticed it, so I investigated. Any guesses? Very reasonable guesses. I've considered both of those as well. Unfortunately, our dashboard is tracking something less ordinary. The temperature should vary with weather and climate changes, so for something that rarely shifts, the water pressure is more likely. We ran a few tests to increase the pressure from the outside, but the readings didn't change at all. Later on, a few more possibilities occurred to me, such as a potential connection with the primordial sea. I began to make a few preparations based on that hypothesis. Over the past few days, the needle has moved again. With that, and the symptoms that Fremine displayed after leaving the fortress, I can now confidently conclude that the readings represent the concentration of primordial seawater in the seawater nearby.
The concentration of primordial seawater? But we're on—
And that is precisely the problem. We're at the bottom of the sea, and now we're surrounded by toxic seawater. Somehow, primordial seawater got mixed in, and the concentration is steadily rising. Yes, that's very likely.
But forget about the two of us. Not even Novelette knows where the primordial sea could be, much less where we could find and plug a leak. Oh.
Seems like you've figured it out. I believe the primordial sea lies directly beneath this sluice gate. For some reason, the primordial seawater levels have risen significantly, and it's now very close to us. The indicators are now red. Although the gate still stands, some primordial seawater has already leaked out and mixed into the sea around us. If this continues, soon it will no longer be able to hold back the primordial sea at all. Yeah, you know what the legends say. If this place falls, then everyone in Fontaine will be turned into puddles in the span of a night.
But that's just too weird! Why would the Fortress of Meripede be built right above a sluice gate for the—
Your expression tells me you think this might be part of a vast, complicated conspiracy. To be honest, you might find it's just that the secret of the Forbidden Zone had been long forgotten by the nation before I rediscovered it with my research. There's no single founder of the Fortress of Meripede in any traditional sense. What we know about its history has been left to us by the people who used to live here. When the previous Hydro Archon Egeria ruled the land, all convicted criminals from Fontaine were exiled. The people drove the criminals away like a wolf pack chasing away the banished. The criminals received no sympathy of any kind from the people. They were exiled to the desolate seaside, where they experienced only pain, struggle, and the bone-chilling cold. Some of them began to repent and prayed to the Hydro Archon, asking if there was still anything they could do. The Hydro Archon took pity on them and said, "You may go guard my secret, deep underneath the waves." And so, leaning on the power of the Hydro Archon, they gathered underneath the sea and began to build a fortress. They became a community down there in the deeps, and over the years helped it to grow. As the number of exiles increased, more and more people joined the community. When the first group of exiles died, they left the yet unfinished fortress to their successors. The Hydro Archon continued to lend her support, allowing the fortress and what it stood for to continue growing ever larger. Before long, this dark underwater fortress became the sinner's only home. And with that, the people here stopped referring to the fortress as a prison. They saw themselves as repenting sinners who would regain their freedom once they had sufficiently redeemed themselves. But as time went on, people also realized that the fortress was a lonely place. Once they had gotten used to life here, they could no longer feel comfortable living in the overworld. Once they had finished serving their sentences, some people left and some others chose to stay. They'd find some idle position and let their withered souls fade away with the ancient secrets of the past. After many, many centuries, few people still remember the reason for the fortress's founding. Now they just see it as an integral pillar of Fontainian society, as the place where criminals deserve to be sent. Now and again, researchers manage to break one law or another and live out their days in the fortress. I learned all this from an elderly historian. Everyone else just thought he'd made it all up.
But now you know every part of that history.
Indeed. It's just as the prophecy says. If this gate fails, then everyone will be dissolved into the sea. To be frank, not really. But sadly, that hasn't stopped this prophecy from proving all too accurate. Prophecies are troublesome things. Just hearing one will create the first wave of panic. Seeing signs of it will bring about the second, and actually witnessing it in real time, the third. Let's go somewhere else. This is it.
Your Grace, perfect timing. The results.
Wait, Jurier, he's not.
Huh?
No need to panic, you two. I've already told them.
What? After you warned us?
I'm skeptical as well.
The results speak for themselves, don't they? These two may already know more than you could ever imagine.
All right then, if Your Grace insists.
They seem harmless enough, so I'll trust them for.
How about some reintroductions? This is Jurier, one of the highest-ranked researchers from the Fontaine Research Institute. He used to work on... Good. Saves me a bit of... Edwin's main areas of research were archeum and gravimeters. As his assistant, Jurier is quite familiar with them as well.
You want to blow up?
Ah, what a lovely idea. I'm already imagining...
Gotta admit, I'm tempted to.
Guys, focus! Focus!
That taskmaster over there is Miss Lorvine, and is also one of my technical consultants. While Jurier used to be Edwin's assistant, she used to be Jurier's assistant.
Ooh, are they together?
See, everyone keeps asking this question. Are you too sure you're not a couple and just using your work as a convenient cover?
Your Grace, I am not in a relationship with this man.
If I dated her, I'd officially be madder than Edwin.
Jeez, forget I said anything then. Follow me.
Whoa, there's another door that goes right up.
Your constant amazement makes it seem like the fortress can do anything.
But Paimon really thinks everything's super cool.
Well, let's spice it up a bit. And here you go.
What a huge ship? This is also a production zone that Paimon's never seen before. What's...
How much do you know about Fontanian history? Well, then maybe you haven't heard the story of ancient Lemuria. To give you a quick rundown, Fontaine used to be ruled by the Lemurian dynasty. According to legend, the Lemurian king Remus came to this land after being inspired by divine revelation and found the seer Sibila, who had taken on the form of a golden bee. Taking the golden bee with him and riding on a huge ship, the Fortuna, he created his nation above the surging waves. He called his nation Lemuria and used the Fortuna to incessantly search for new tribes and islands, calling on them to join his empire.
There's a ship in this story too.
Where there's water, there'll be ships. People believe that hope can always be found at the end of a voyage.
Do you believe that too?
To a point, I think. As you've already seen, I have a whole factory's worth of labor, materials, and technology at my disposal. Certainly can't hurt to give it a try. So the moment I began to speculate that the primordial sea might lie underneath the gate, I also began this project.
Were you inspired by the legendary
Maybe. Fontanians need something to hold on to cope with the impending disaster. Were the workers to find out the truth behind this ship, riots would destroy the fortress faster than any catastrophe. As the fortress's administrator, I'd never make such a reckless call. All right, that's enough talking for now. I'll need another 3 cups of tea to soothe my throat. Do you have any other? Seems like you're good. Come on. I'll leave you here for now.
Oh!
No worries. But don't forget, it's up to you whether or not you want to share what you just saw. What you do from here on out will likely affect those three as well.
Yeah, we'll put a lot of thought into it for sure.
Great.
We're back!
Welcome back.
How can you be so much like Risley, always drinking tea?
Huh. Actually, now that you mention it, while I was sedated, I could still barely hear two people talking next to me. They were discussing everything.
Must have been Risley and Siege.
Yeah, I heard one male voice and one female, so it should have.
I really can't make sense of this.
So, Traveler, Paimon, were you able to...
Yeah, he explained.
Very well. Then, would you mind checking your answers against my speculations? Yeah, I took...
Nobody else is around.
All right, then I'll posit my theories. I asked myself, firstly, why was Fremine affected by the primordial sea?
Whoa!
That's Arlen.
Secondly, Risley's attitude changed dramatically during the course of our stay here. He ignored us completely at first, then suddenly rode... I spent quite a long time thinking about this. If he has been... What's more, the Fortress of Meripede is not part of Fontaine's court system, nor does it report to Udex Nervulet. Risley is basically the king of a no-man's land. As long as the fortress doesn't do anything about Master Child's disappearance, Father can use it to pressure the Fontaine authorities. If I had to guess, he probably has something that he's working on himself. It's likely related to the secret of the...
You're super smart.
Thanks so much. If Risley does have a plan, what could it be? All I... that can't be the full extent of what he's doing. There's probably a secret passageway behind the block in the infirmary, and there's something big. I don't have enough information, so I...
The sea will engulf everyone.
Could Risley have wanted to meet Father to figure out a way to deal with this crisis? If you remember, I once mentioned that Father sees the House of the Hearth as her base of operations, and she truly wants to resolve the crisis.
Or perhaps he didn't know and just wanted to bring Father over to his side, which could be...
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And the two of you have already aided us far too much. If you ever need anything else going forward, please come to the House of the Heart. Though you may not share the sentiment, after all that we've gone through together...
You have my gratitude.
Thank you for protecting Linny when it really mattered. And
Why are you being so formal all of a sudden?
given your strength, you might not need our help at all. But if you are ever in danger, we...
Aw, the sound of that makes Paimon feel all warm. Paimon's hungry.
Oh,
Alright, then we'll catch you guys. Make my escape. Ha, ha.
It's time for dinner. Welfare meals now being served in the...
Come on, let's go pick up ours as well.
Traveler and Paimon, over here.
Are you here for dinner?
And I'm taking the opportunity to prepare Miss Cloran.
Huh. You're right.
What would you like to eat? Yep, you can. I've already talked to our chef, Mr. Wolsey. It's all on me today, so you can get whatever you'd like.
Me too. Don't.
No problem.
so delicious. Paimon's so happy.
Feeling full yet?
How's delicious?
I'm so glad to see you all.
Siegeween?
A bit of both, I suppose. I'm a Melazine, which means I'm very different from human beings. I must know what you're thinking.
You're really good at taking care.
Really?
Oh, and what did you mean back in Risley's office? When you said,
Oh, that. I just asked His Grace to look out for those children, especially that diver boy. I was getting a bit worried after hearing that something was... Thankfully, Glorand is very strong and managed to save him in the nick of time. His Grace also sealed the pipes after Glorand left, although the path was... Oh, and I was keeping an eye...
you were all so...
It's... Oh. Get a good night's rest.
Glorand! How's dinner?
It's all right. Miss Siegewin really...
So we heard that Risley invited you to come down to help, and you saved Fremine too!
Oh, it was...
Still, Paimon didn't know even... Oh, and why aren't you eating with Siegewin and the Duke? Won't you get...
Miss Siegewin was with you. And the Duke has business of his own.
Actually, didn't Navia say that you went out for dinner with her as well?
Yeah.
First time in a long time. So you mean you've gone out to dinner with her in the past?
In the past. You seem to be enjoying yourselves here. Things will be getting messy at the fortress soon. Don't run around.
Make my escape. And away I go! Make my escape.
Paimon's super...
Delicious.
Out of my way! Get... What happened? Why? No idea, but something must have happened. Stop asking!
What happened? Why is everyone running around? Hey, what are you...
No time to explain, mate. Goodbye!
Hey, what? What's wrong with these people?
They're here! There you are!
Oh, thank goodness!
Quisto and Laveroon, do you know what happened here?
We came here especially to inform you. Something seems to have gone terribly wrong just now. His Grace's Laveroon was saying you two are new here and you don't have many friends, so you might slip through the cracks. Haven't you heard all the stories like that? An evacuation is successfully completed. Yet you only find out once you do a head count that one or two people are—
Wait, weren't you the one who brought that up? Why is it sudden—
Hey, shut up!
Okay, whatever. The point is, you should come with us. Yeah, he said to get us—
Oh no, it can't be that thing!
Whoa, wait, what? What, hey?
We have to go find the Duke! You two just go and get out! Go on without us!
Hey! Be careful!
Attention, please evacuate upwards and outwards, upwards and outwards. If you're already at the topmost layer, then try to move as far outwards as possible.
They're here.
Just like I said.
What happened?
You're just in time. But be ready to run. Three, two, one.
This won't hold it for long. Find Neuvillette. Tell him the defenses are about to collapse.
Then what will happen to you?
Until he arrives, we're the last line of defense. The gate. How long do you think it'll hold?
That depends on us.
Neuvillette? Why are you here?
Traveler, I need you to head to the Opera House immediately. Farina will soon be meeting with the Knave there. You must protect Farina, and make sure she doesn't spend too much time alone with her. Will do. You have...
Look! There are a ton of
Are you two the traveler in Paimon? Though I'm sure he's already explained.
Oh, so you two are the honored guests, Miss Farina.
Of course, of course!
It is my pleasure to make your acquaintance, traveler. I have heard much of your accomplishments. I am the Knave, one of the 11 Fatui Harbingers.
I've already prepared seats for you.
Perhaps you two are unaware of how Miss Farina and I do things. You see, we actually recently agreed to get together for tea when we see this. This is a limited type of confectionery that Miss Farina simply adores. There are only 16 slices sold every day. Here, Why don't you and Paimon have a taste?
Traveler, what do you think of this cake?
That's good to hear. So what Child said was on the mark after all. You do share a taste in desserts with Farina and I. I wonder how he's doing nowadays. You must...
Since we're talking about him, I feel like I should add something. His martial prowess really...
Oh, so you're also familiar with his aptitude for fighting, Miss Farina. Oh, right. I almost forgot. Child was subdued by Eudex Nuvil. Against ordinary people, my colleague would never be on the back foot. But alas, he just never imagined. Coming from you, that's not surprising.
But I thought you would be happier to hear the news.
Of course, but it's still a bit of a shame. You see, I would have been far happier had I received this news somewhat earlier, as you well know.
Well, in any case, there's no need to worry. We know for sure that Child is still alive.
Oh, and just how do you know that?
Because...
And where did he go after leaving the fortress?
Well...
The fortress of Meripede lies deep. Ah, that is good news at least. His sister Tonya sent a letter to Fontaine not too long ago, since he was unfortunately on... Do you have any idea how he usually writes back to his family? Dear Tonya, your letter made me feel like we were still enjoying our time in Snezhnaya together. I'm currently admiring the...
All letters tend to follow the same few formats anyway, right? As long...
Hold on. The water in the...
I suppose this is also a sign of things to come.
Huh? I don't quite understand what you're trying...
Have we entered into the next stage of the prophecy?
My thanks to you both. I will take it from here.
Sure you don't need a hand?
Quite sure.
Wow. So, what's your secret, huh? Let me guess. Nah, who knows? Maybe it's just your sense of responsibility.
Sounds about right.
A day may come when the prophecy is fulfilled, and the waters burst forth. But it is not this day! This ancient power could easily obliterate an entire race. A tsunami of fury would unleash endless catastrophe. This sentence is too severe. Forgive me for overruling it.
All right. Seems like...
Let me guess. We're safe.
Indeed. But only for...
I win this bet.
Very well. It was indeed just as you...
You made a bet?
We made a bet on the size of your entourage. Cloran thought you wouldn't come down by yourself.
I figured you would have at least brought a few people along for appearance's sake. It appears I underestimated just how confidential the mission was.
Shouldn't you have gotten used to confidential missions by now? That's just how the courts operate.
So what gift must the loser give? Tea?
He already has tons of tea in his office. I'm thinking about a set of legal codices.
That wouldn't happen to be a dig at my lack of legal awareness, would it?
Well, I'm sure His Grace doesn't consider the fortress to be outside the law.
I was under the impression the residents of a place like this would be uninterested in the legal codices.
That was obviously a joke. Anyway, you've still got some unfinished business.
No need to stay here if you have a pressing matter. We all know you can't leave Palais Mermonia for long.
Thank you. I hope everything went smoothly with the Fatui Harbinger.
I must say, Miss Farina, as the Hydro Archon, I am sure you understand the exact meaning of the phenomenon we just witnessed. Or should I say, that's what I originally thought.
What are you trying to say?
At this point, I don't think there's any more need to speak as diplomatic representatives. Allow me to speak to you now as just a Fontanian. You know yet, here you are, relaxing, drinking tea, and eating desserts as if it's all nothing more than a few stray bugs in your garden. Do you really think that's acceptable? The prophecy's hanging above our necks like a guillotine. Every faction is looking for a way to either avert the disaster or save their own. Even the orphans of the House of the Hearth have devoted everything to saving their homeland. But you? It beggars belief just how nonchalant and carefree you have been. From the very beginning, you, the god Focalor, you have utterly failed to take action.
You're wrong. I've never ignored the prophecy, nor have I just been passing the time in self-indulgence. Retract your accusation and stop doubting the wisdom of the gods with such absurd conjectures.
I am not alone in my doubts, you know. All the children of Fontaine may be harboring the exact same thoughts right now. Oh, great Hydro Archon. How are you going to save them? Save us? How are the people you've sworn to protect supposed to survive in a land that will soon disappear beneath the waves?
I have my ways, and I've been working on them for all this time. Even if you look down upon me, you have no right to judge me. Fontaine will be saved. Even if I still cannot see the true future right now, as long as I continue on as I am, I will be able to hold my head up high.
Then I ask you, Miss Farina, just what have you been working on? Where can we see it, and what is it doing to help?
My machinations are just like the prophecy.
I see. As a god, the proof of your labor always lies beyond prying mortal eyes. Allow me to be so bold as to ask another way. Would it be possible for you to tell us the parts of your plan that are not confidential? Such as your emergency response plan for the impending disaster?
An emergency...
Oh, that look in your eyes.
The emergency response plan...
Then allow me to jog your memory. Miss Farina, what is the purpose of your Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal? And what do you plan to do with the massive amounts of indemnitium that has accumulated over the years?
The Oratrice? It's just like it appears to be.
So you also have no idea. If I'm not mistaken, someone's using it to prepare for something. But unfortunately, it would seem that someone is not you, Miss Farina. I first caught wind of this when Linny tried to investigate the Oratrice in the Opera House. You see, even just getting close to the core contaminated him with an extremely large amount of indemnity. But even if that had nothing to do with you, then what could you possibly be working on, oh great Hydro? Oh, right. I almost forgot. Udex Nouvillette is not at the tea party with us today. Miss Farina, I suppose you must have—
Yeah, yes,
Of course I will. Although, I must say, Miss Farina, you seem quite insecure without the Udex by your side. Oh, very well. Let's stop that conversation here. There are still a few slices of cake left, so please, help yourselves, everyone. Traveler, I heard that you were recently commissioned to handle a few matters on behalf of the Udex. Why don't you take an You too, Paimon.
Thank you. Paimon will take you up on that offer. Oh.
You're welcome. I'm sure the cake also felt greatly honored to be featured at Miss Farina's table. It is getting late. Why don't we call it a day? There are still a few matters that I need to take care of, so—
Very well.
Mind seeing me off, Traveler? We could use the opportunity to discuss Child before I must be on my way.
Paimon's coming too!
I'm glad that you were willing to come with me. Of course, Child was just an excuse. I have no interest in you.
That's what Paimon thought!
You lent your aid to the children of the House of the Hearth. As their father, I would like to express my gratitude. Do I look like an irresponsible father to you? That was all. Formal topics should be discussed in formal settings, and informal topics in informal settings. I know you just returned from the fortress of Meripede. Relax. I have no intention of trying to get anything out of you. Linny, Lynette, and Fremine are still there, and
They've all been working very hard and have always done all they can to fight back against anyone who tried to stop them. Especially Linny.
You mean Wriothesley. He's a tricky one to deal with. It's unfortunate that Linny's so eager to prove himself that he can't learn to rely on others. And by the way, and you can just consider this a bit of idle gossip, but what's your impression of Farina? You are outside of our disputes, and the freest person in all of Fontaine, able to move around most easily. Allow me to share my perspective with you.
And that's everything that happened during the trial. Master Child was declared guilty and immediately transported to the Fortress of Meripede.
Didn't he say he was coming here on vacation? Does he not feel an ounce of shame for all the trouble he has caused? Forget it. He did give us an opportunity. I will be meeting someone
Do you require help with any prep?
No need. I need to meet with Farina, the Hydro Archon. She is at the heart of Fontaine. But what's fascinating—
Oh? Come over here, you little critter, you! You dare to run from me? Stop right this instant!
My goal is just to discover the location of the Gnosis. But I didn't expect the chance to approach Farina to be handed to me on a silver platter. This is so easy, it's actually making anything left unguarded is usually just bait. But no one will... It's just as I guessed in the second before I struck. The Hydronosis is not currently held by the Archon. In fact, this Archon doesn't seem like a god at all. And I sense that she's under some kind of curse.
Who are you? And what are you trying?
The fear in her pupils is genuine, so perhaps she's not bait after all. Either way, I left the scene with ease. Nobody came looking for me, and nobody could serve as a witness to my near assassination of Focalor. I suspect, even for not long after, my informants confirmed what I had guessed. After returning to her quarters, Farina quietly cried alone. She was so scared that she could not sleep that night. Nor, there's no doubt that there's something wrong with her. I began to entertain the possibility that she is not the true Hydro Archon. Perhaps I have to find the Gnosis. If the Neuvillette hypothesis is correct, he is probably in possession of it. Alternatively, it might have been hidden in a place that's hard for ordinary people.
Yes, Father.
My dear children, please speak.
News from the fortress of Meropide. Master Child has gone missing. On top of that, the contacts and guards we bribed at the fortress have all gone quiet as well.
Probably the handiwork of that Ridesley.
I'm afraid so.
This is a good opportunity. The value of a Harbinger is much higher than most would imagine. We now have an excuse to exert diplomatic pressure on the Fontaine authorities. Set up a meeting for me. I would like to meet the Hydro Archon and Iudex Neuvillette. Oh, and I have...
Yes, Father.
Tartaglia's disappearance was not a part of my plan, but I can use it to make a breakthrough. With this as my excuse, I can ask for an official audience and continue my investigation of Farina and Iudex Neuvillette. The initiative belongs to the House of the Hearth. My wish to investigate the fortress of Meropide will be a front. Linny and his group will be responsible for the actual intelligence. You should know the rest. Linny's group is quite close to you, so they wouldn't have hidden anything from you.
You attacked?
It wouldn't mean anything, even if you shouted it from the rooftops. After all, even Farina herself is still pretending that nothing of that sort... I've now had 2 chances to enjoy tea with Farina. I have to say, the leadership of Fontaine is even more inscrutable than I had imagined. I once surmised that Iudex Neuvillette must be the Hydro Archon, but now, that doesn't seem right to me either. I am a servant of Her Majesty the Tsaritsa. Over my years of service, I've learned how a real Archon conducts and carries themselves. Whether Iudex Neuvillette or Farina, neither fits the bill. It's hard to imagine either of them as the Archon. Of course, that is all just how I feel. Gut feelings often do not require justification. It is, however, quite amusing to me that after all my years working in intelligence gathering, I've come to realize I am at a complete loss regarding the identity of the god of the land. Don't you think Fontaine is quite intriguing? A catastrophe looms, yet many secrets have yet to rise to the surface. Ultimately, though, one must survive in order to do anything else. Should the need arise, I would be happy to cooperate with you. You don't need to commit to anything right now, of course. I have a feeling that the situation will continue to evolve, and as your name is often connected with noble deeds, I'm sure we will work together someday. He certainly returned quickly. You must want to catch up with each other, so I'll leave you to him.
Neverlet, is it over?
For now, yes. But this issue will prove quite thorny in the long term. I'm concerned that sooner or later the prophesized events will occur. Thank you for protecting Farina. To put it simply, I used my power to force back the primordial sea and reseal the sluice gate. So as expected, the knave has turned up the pressure on Farina. She's trying to feel her out, though I'm still unsure as to her motives. Permission granted.
Whoa. It can't be... You can't tell us? Then that's okay.
If by the phrase, you guys, you are referring to Farina and I, then although I'm not sure just what you are trying to imply, I must clarify that I do not share her positions on a multitude of topics. I believe so. The fortress has a long and complex history. It has seen much grief and suffering. And now, another catastrophe will soon be upon us. I mourn this turn of events.
Huh? Why is it raining all of a sudden?
You may be closer to the truth than you think.
Oh? And what are you thinking? The dragon of... huh?
Please do not be so surprised. My apologies.
We were just guessing randomly. We didn't guess right, did we? You're not actually the dragon sovereign of what?
You guessed correctly. I sincerely hope you'll be able to keep this a secret for me.
Right, of course. There's still something...
Please, go ahead.
Well, if you are the dragon sovereign of water, and you were able to force back the primordial sea from the fortress, then since Fontaine's prophecy is all about seawater, couldn't you just use your power to solve the crisis?
None of the currently living dragon sovereigns in the world, myself included, possess our full dragonhood. They say that when the first usurper arrived on Tivat, they seized a part of the dragon's power. Today, that stolen power is the basis of the Archon's authorities.
There are 7 elemental archons and 7 matching dragon sovereigns.
The dragon sovereign of water who lived through that era perished a long time ago. As their successor, I know far less of that part of our ancient history. In any case, I believe I will not be able to do much unless the Archon disappears and returns their elemental authority to me. Given the status quo, however, I would recommend finding another way to deal with the prophecy.
Oh, so even you can't solve it.
I still have some urgent matters to attend to at my office. If you have any more questions regarding ancient history,
Please go right ahead. There's a place that Paimon... We'll see you another time.
Take care.
Go!
Huh?
my escape.
Courier,
Yeah, I was working.
that's no excuse for...
Junior, Lurvine, we're back!
Hello there. It's been quite...
And you? Are you still taking the secret
Yep. That is still top secret, though. So don't say a word to anyone.
It can be a bit annoying when there are lots of people in the infirmary, but I still prefer taking that route over the one from the Duke's office.
I mean, the infirmary does make it easier for you to slack off.
Oh, yeah? Then why are you also here so much?
You two really are just using your jobs as a cover for your relationship, aren't you?
Not at all!
Make my escape. Traveler, Paimon, are you still doing all right?
We're fine.
A few people sustained superficial injuries, but of course, we must...
How did Nervalet know that he was needed here?
Well, Miss sure Nervalet has strong resonance with the hydro element. When the water level rises, he can feel the waves produced. I ran into the bombshell bros while bandaging the injuries of the wounded. They were mumbling the whole time about how you just ran down without a word. I'm so relieved to see that you're both all right. If you're not too pressed, just let me know if you get a craving for any particular dish, so I can have Mr. Wolsey get your meals prepared. Oh, and please feel free to visit. I'd like to take the opportunity to spend some more time observing your facial muscles as well. Here... Make my escape.
You guys are...
You guys...
Huh?
And here I...
all right then.
Hey, what?
I was also... Whenever he'd say...
Hey, there's...
These two. They sure are a lot warmer and friendlier than when Paimon first met.
Oh, well, if you say so.
Always at your service.
Now guess.
Well, well, look who it is.
Traveler.
Looks like you're.
Oh, right.
Whoa, how did she
She didn't want to stress you out, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, but check this out. We went back to the
You meant father? Did she say anything?
She said a few things that were,
Her attitude towards you is even better than what we'd imagined. That you should believe her. She has her own way of doing things, and she'll do everything.
Father.
Oh, Paimon just remembered this.
Hey!
Are you going to stay?
Looks like it, yeah.
Excellent. I will.
For real? Then Paimon.
Another implies that you were all. Well, next time.
Make my escape.
Can't touch me.
Do my eyes deceive me, or did I just see two inmates come back after making it to the surface? Some strange winds blowing of late.
We wanted to see how the fortress is doing. Is everything still all...
We're fine, for the most part. Neuvillette came down and took care of the worst of it.
If that's the case, why don't you just ask him to stay here?
Oh, yeah, what a brilliant plan. Let's go convince the Udex himself to exchange the Courts of Fontaine for a puddle of water in the middle of nowhere. He came here in a hurry and left without even stopping for a cup of tea. He did remember to take Miss Sigewinne's gift with him, though.
He sure sounds super busy.
Miss Clorand has left as well. She also took her gift from Miss Sigewinne.
Were the gifts...
Neuvillette got the milkshake. Clorand received lipstick instead.
Those aren't even remotely alike.
Well, it's Neuvillette's own fault for making Sigewinne worried about his health by working so much. But besides that, our head nurse is still pretty fond of picking out beauty products for the ladies. Oh, and I have some gifts here for you as...
Are these from Sigewinne?
Nope, they're from yours truly. You've already wrapped up your work at the fortress, so you can return to the surface at any time. You haven't yet served your full prison term, however, so you may continue to use your cell until your term is up.
For real? Then we could stay here for a really long time.
You may access the cafeteria for free. Just remember to come complete your paperwork once it's time for your release.
Make my escape.
then. We're no longer prisoners, though, so it really doesn't feel the same. Sure feels that way. Huh? How did you know? Hey, that's not true! It's like we've now gone. There are so many bad things in the world, and we're just two people, but we've still been solving problems no matter where we go. You're counting Paimon today? Then let's ask Catherine to give Paimon an adventurer handbook. Just our thoughts making Paimon giddy. The last time we fell asleep here, we woke up to a whole mess outside ourselves. We should be safe now. All right then. Good night to you, traveler. Make my escape. Make my escape. As you wish.
Wish everyone could stay safe and healthy.